Hello everyone and welcome back to A Kupel Books. This is Kupel as always. Today we're going to be doing a book review on two books, both by Garth Nix. If I can have my hands work correct, we are doing Left-Handed Booksellers of London and Angel Mage. I did this last month and I just finished this month. It was one of my first books this month, so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit now that I have read both of Garth Nix's adult fantasy books. I do believe they're both classified as adult. They may be young adult, but now that I finished them, I would like to talk with you guys about them. So with that, let us get started with today's video. Okay, so we are going to talk about each book individually real quick, and then we're going to talk about my general thoughts for the author Garth Nix. So first, Left-Handed Booksellers of London. I absolutely adore this book. I talked about it in my wrap-up video for last month. This book was fantastic. For those who are unaware, it basically follows this woman named Susan. Susan is turning 18, and now that she's 18 and an adult, she wants to be a typical adult and go find out more about herself. So she goes to the city in search of her father, and she basically only has one connection to her father, and that is some stuff that her mother had of his. And this leads her to a gangster, and she ends up meeting up with this gangster and talking with him and trying to figure out who her father was and trying to figure out where he might be if he's even still alive. When she goes and meets up with this gangster, things happen that you'll have to read the book to find out, and she ends up falling into this world of magic and mystery and all this crazy stuff happening in London. Basically, in London, there's a lot of magical creatures out there, as we all know, that's for sure. Like, you're telling me there's not vampires in London, there's no doubt about that. And the Queen is definitely a vampire. I'm kidding for anyone, that's not meant to offend. Okay, sorry, moving on, moving past that. So, vampires. So, that's not what we're talking about today. Yeah, so she ends up getting involved with the magical world of London. So this magical underground world is filled with a whole bunch of types of different creatures, and they're all being policed by the Booksellers of London. The Booksellers of London is this family of individuals who are all booksellers. They all wear gloves. Some wear it on their right hand and some wear it on their left hand. And that's the distinction between right-handed and left-handed booksellers. Left-handed booksellers are the people who are more equipped to handle action and violence and in-battle magic. The right-handed booksellers are much more of a softer type of bookseller, and their magic tends to be things that you would see outside of the battleground. So healing spells, the types of things that, like divination, the types of spells that are maybe not so battle magey. So those two types of booksellers end up policing the entire London and making sure that these creatures stay in their place and that they don't cause too much mischief. And the booksellers are also involved with the police force, and they're well known within the community in the sense that people know that they do things that are for the benefit of humankind, but we don't exactly know what they do. So like, they have clearance badges with the police know who they are, they just don't really know exactly what they do. So Susan, when she meets up with this gangster, she ends up falling into the path of these booksellers, and she ends up getting wrapped up with them, and they basically take her on this journey to find out who her father was, because there's some mystical stuff going on with her father, and we don't really know exactly what it is. This book was fantastic. I already talked a little bit about it inside of my wrap-up video, and in there I commented on the fact that there's one plot point in this story that I didn't love so much, and that is still the case. This book, overall, Susan's storyline is fantastic, the mystery elements are fun, the adventure is fun, the action is great, everything in this book is fantastic except for one of our character, Merlin. He's the other protagonist in the story, and he has his own mystery he's trying to solve. He's trying to figure out who killed his mother. I believe it's his mother. Yeah, who killed his mother. And Merlin is also kind of on this path of trying to discover who murdered his mother and why she was murdered. That storyline was necessary in order to basically bring in our main character, Susan. However, the problem was it never was really given enough screen time to really justify it or warrant it being there. Was it necessary? Most likely. Was it fully given enough juice and energy within the written words? No. And that was my main gripe with this book. But overall, I absolutely loved it, and I thought it was a great book. The writing is on point. The characters are fun. The characters are each distinctly unique. They all have their own personality, they all have their own tone of voice, and you can really visualize what is happening in a story. Overall, highly would recommend to anyone who's getting out of YA and into adult fantasy. I would recommend this to anyone who's really into urban fantasy and really enjoys the, big city, monster underground world, that kind of stuff. Anyone who liked that, Dresden Files, Lightning by Roanhouse, likes any of those more urban fantasy authors, I think you'd really enjoy this. And then of course anyone who's really into the whole magical police force, I think you would also find this one quite entertaining. Okay, so the next book that I'd like to talk to you guys about is Garth Nix's The Angel Mage. This book was utterly fantastic, but now that I've read it, I can actually tell you a little bit of what it's about, spoiler free of course. As I told you guys previously when I said I was going to read this book is about Liliath. Liliath is this world-class super summoner of angelic powers, and she's looking for her love, who's an archangel. Now, it's basically her quest to find what happened to her love, and she ends up getting a group of people together to basically help her find out what happened to her love. That is the premise I went into with this story. I didn't really know much about the magic system. I didn't really know much about anything else. I just knew that we were following this girl named Liliath, and she was looking for her love. That's really all I knew. Now that I understand what the story's about, let me tell you a little bit more clearly what it is actually about. We start off this book in the destruction of one of the countries of this world. Ystara, I think it's called. And the people in this country are either dying from plague, where their blood turns to ash, or they're being turned into these horrific monsters and they're dying because the monsters are killing them. It's very graphic, everyone's dying, it's really horrible. And basically no one survives. It's like everyone's dead, okay? Fast forward 137 years, we are now in the timeline of where we are now, and the few people who were able to survive the fall of Ystara, the country, fled into one of their neighboring countries. And they all live there now, except that they are, because of whatever happened back in their home country, they're unable to basically use magic in this world or be able to be affected by magic in this world unless they want to die or turn into a horrific monster. We have this country that is now kind of downtrodden, and it's basically disappeared, and no one's allowed in it anymore, and it's filled with monsters. So that is kind of the premise we're in. And then we have Liliath, who is one of our main characters. Liliath was there at the fall of Ystara, but she is still around today. And she's very, 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 very powerful, and we don't really know exactly why she's so powerful initially, but you come to learn that very early on. And she's extremely powerful in the magic of this world. And then we also follow 4 individuals who are all connected, and we don't know exactly how. We're told in the beginning of the book that they all have like a spark within them, and that this spark is what's going to basically bring them together. We don't really know what this spark means or what it is, and they're all very different people. One is a soldier, one is a doctor, one is a scribe, and one is a crafter of the magic of these icons that is used for the magic system in this world. And so these 4 people are all very different people and very unique in what they do, and they end up all kind of coming together in this story, and they end up basically being the main good guys of this storyline. So that is pretty much who we're following in this story. And this story is really is more of a mystery than a love story, and it's really about what happened 137 years ago that caused the fall of Ystara. How is Liliath still alive today, right now? How is she still here? How are all these 4 characters connected in this story? The 4 main characters, how are they all connected? What has brought them together? Why do they feel a connection with each other? These are the big questions that are going on, and that is the real story of this. That's the real crux of this story. It's not really a story about a love story trying to find her lost love, about a lover trying to find her lost love. It's much more a story about friendship and these characters trying to figure out what is exactly going on, while there's this big mystery going on and we don't really know all the moving parts. I absolutely loved this book so much. I really enjoyed it. My top favorite part about this book, and the real reason that I love this book so much, is the magic system in here. So in this magic system, there is angelic summoning. Basically, anyone in this world is able to summon angels to their aid. You can summon angels that have very specific focuses, such as turning on lights, or giving you a light, or giving you an extra breath, or anything like that, all the way up to the super powerful angels that have much more of a very wide and stronger scope of their abilities and are able to do pretty much anything. These angels are classified in certain classes based on how powerful they are, and the cost in this world is not like training or anything like that, but if you want to be able to summon an angel, you have to be okay with giving up some of your lifeline. For every angel you summon in this world, you lose a little bit of time. If you summon one of the smaller angels, it's negligible and you're losing minutes or hours. If you summon one of the big, super powerful ones, you're losing months or even years off of your life. So it's super, super unique magic system. I really enjoyed it. Thought it was really cool. It also highlighted some of very interesting points in the story. The world building in here is fantastic, and you see that because anyone can be a summoner in this world. But really what determines if you're a great summoner or not so great summoner is, first of all, your willingness to sacrifice your own life. Second of all, your willingness, or not your willingness, your social status. If you're super wealthy, you're able to afford some of the necessities to perform the magic in this world, and that's these icons. These icons are these expertly crafted depictions of these angels that you have to use in order to summon the angel. The wealthier you are, the more angels you're able to summon, and the higher level angels you're able to summon. If you're not as wealthy, maybe you can't summon so many because you simply cannot afford to summon those angels because you don't have their icons. So it was a very interesting magic system that kind of highlighted the class system in this book. In addition to that, the politics in this book and the world building was absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of politics going on, and it's a bit heavy-handed because it's kind of the focus of a lot of the story, but it was really enjoyable. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was fantastic. I thought the characters were really unique. I thought the characters were kind of cute, and they cracked me up, and some of them are hilarious. And each character, I find that Garth Nix has a very spectacular ability to basically speak in multiple voices and has a great ability to convey unique characters. And he does that again here. My only slight issue with this book is that it kind of felt a little dragged out in the beginning part. So you have your arc where you have to go up to your climax and then back down. I felt that the first part building up to the climax was really long. Like, it was like a little bit too stretched out, and then the ending bit was super fast. And I didn't mind the ending bit being super fast. I just felt like the first part of this book was a little drawn out. Not that I really minded, because I really did love learning more and more about this magic system and about this world. Overall, I really enjoyed it, and I'd recommend it to anyone who is into unique magic systems, for anyone who loves distinct characters, for anyone who has a musketeer obsession. Pick this book up. I think that's definitely a good, solid recommendation, even though it's not exactly what you're going to be thinking dropping into this book. And for anyone who is into basically fantasy in general, I think that this is not necessarily a bad book. Just like Garth Book's other book, The Left-Handed Booksellers of London, I think that you could really jump into this book from the get-go and move from YA to this book and really enjoy it. Or if you're a huge, hardcore, high fantasy fan, I think you'd also really enjoy it. But yeah, those are the two Garth Nix books that I read this last few weeks, and I enjoyed them both very much. Garth Nix is a fantastic author. I'm definitely going to be picking up more of his books. I know the rest of his books I think are YA, but I'm really looking forward to picking them up because he's fantastic. He knows how to write characters really well, and as you guys know, I love a character-centric story. It means so much that when an author is able to convey unique characters, and it makes it so much more fun to read a book like that. So I highly recommend picking this up, guys. I highly recommend picking up Left-Handed Booksellers of London. I think they're both great books, and I really would highly recommend them. I think I gave both of them 4 or 4.5 stars, so definitely go and find them, and let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for being here today, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. We have a few tags coming up, so I'm super excited for those tags to happen, and we've got a really fun, cute video coming up as well. So a lot of things in store. Looking forward to seeing you guys later. Don't forget to drop downstairs, comment, maybe like and subscribe if you're feeling like it, and I will be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye now.